All right, today we're going to talk about finding your life's purpose, how I found mine, and how you can find yours, and if being a TV show host is right for you. Okay, so this is the Ikigai, Japanese concept meaning reason for being. I love this thing. I love sharing it with everyone that I know. Generally, when I do, people have a clearer idea of what they want to do with their life. So let's go through it. So what you love, and that can be pretty much anything. There's a subreddit, Find Your Path, and I see a lot of people saying like, oh, well, I love hiking and whatnot. My equivalent is biking. I love bicycling. But that's not necessarily something that I can get paid to do. So then you have what you're good at over here on the left. And if you're good at something and you love it, because you can be good at something and you don't love it at all. You can love to do something and you're not particularly good at it. But if you are good at something that you love to do, that's your passion. You have a passion for that thing. My problem has always been that I have so many passions. So I have a passion for music. I have a passion for psychology. I had like what I would call a shadow passion for filmmaking, because I did that a lot on my own in high school and then never really pursued it. Passion for writing. Actually, no, I take that back. Writing, I am now good at writing, and this is where it gets interesting. I am now good at writing because I've probably logged 10,000 hours trying to write over the years. Because of that, I was actually a pretty bad writer, and it was only the constant repetition, writing every day, keeping track of my progress. That's when I started actually getting good at it. So you can, if you love something enough, you can make it a passion by just doing it a lot and finding resources to help me grow. Moving on to the right, we have what the world needs. It's like you're making the world a better place is essentially what the world needs. And that was something that I had trouble with music. The world does need music, right? But I also had this psychology thing, and I wanted to change the world through psychology, and it changes the world in a different way. When you're helping people through their problems, you can have like a ripple effect. It just depends on, what you think the world needs most, and that's a reflection of you. You can also have what the world needs, what you think the world needs, and what the world thinks it needs. So what do people think they need? What do you think people need? And what do people really need? That's like another Venn diagram altogether. So if you love to do something and you know the world needs it, that's your mission. You might not be good at that thing, but if you are, then you're right here. And you have delight and fullness, but no wealth. So this is where people bump into the roads, is they never quite reach the Ikigai. They get stuck in these four, or most likely these four. But to get to this way, you need to think of all angles. For me, it's always been, what can you get paid to do, right? I think it's the same for a lot of creatives. And if you really think about what the world needs, that can help you as well figure out what can you actually get paid to do. But to think about that, you need to think about how do people spend their money and what will they spend their money on? What kinds of services or products would people spend their money on? And how can you match those products and services with your passion and mission? Now, some people start from the bottom and work their way up. And I think a common thing is you just get a job, and then you get good at it, and so you find your profession. And then you figure out your profession in a way that matches what the world needs. If you're not good at it, it's your vocation, according to this. If you are good at it, you feel comfortable, but there's a feeling of emptiness. You don't really love what you do. That's where a lot of people that follow this road have troubles. So for that, you need to explore what do you really love in terms of what you're already doing, right? So you've been on a path, and your path has been good. So just keep on that. And I'll give you an example. I once was having a chat with a guy in a park, and he was talking about how he was doing fashion, and then he switched his careers and he started writing books. I was like, well, why don't you write books about fashion? You know a lot about fashion. You can bring it into your books, because he was struggling to get published. And who knows, but I presume if he was able to match what he wants to do now with what he's been doing with his life up to that point, that it's going to work out really well. So there's a timeline to all this as well that you need to think about. Now, if you are over in this area where you love something, you're good at it, and you can get paid for it, you're going to be satisfied, but you're going to feel a little useless. You're not really contributing to the world in a meaningful way. And if you love something, you can get paid to do it, and the world needs it, you're going to have a lot of excitement, but a sense of uncertainty, because you're not really sure if you're actually good at it or not. So then it would just be figuring out how to, again, what are you doing and which areas do you actually excel at compared to other people in your field, and how can you capitalize on that. Now, if you are able to make sense of all 4 of these Venn diagrams, then that's your Ikigai. And once you have your Ikigai, everything falls into place. There's very little uncertainty. You have a lot of delight. You get real excited, and you're comfortable doing with what you do. What I'm finding where I'm at right now is I don't have to be at the top of my career because I have such a clear Ikigai, and other people can see that. People are like, well, how can I help you? And it's just so much easier to get up in the morning on a Monday and get to work.
Obviously, everyone's Ikigai is going to be a little bit different, but if you're going to do children's media, this is what I think you need to think about. Since you're here, let's talk about what qualities you might need if you want to pursue this kind of Ikigai. Well, you need to be good at and love children, right? You need to have a passion for educating children and trying to reach children and help them grow. You need to be able to get into the child's world and understand the world through their eyes. What are they experiencing? The world needs good children's content, and you can get paid to do it because parents are willing to buy things for their kids. Parents want their children to grow. So if you're able to help children grow, they're going to help you do that in one way or another. But ultimately, you have to love this. This has to be a driving force in you. Because if you're going to pursue this, it means you have to learn so much new stuff. You have to keep going even when it feels impossible. And how do you keep going even when it feels impossible? Well, you just have to have like a sadistic desire to keep going. That's what everyone says. For any YouTube or any kind of entrepreneurial endeavor, you can't just do it for money. You can't just do it because the world needs it. And you can't just do it because you're good at it. You have to also love it. That is probably the most important thing out of all of this. So if you have that love and you have that drive, already I can tell you the world needs it, right? Then the world needs good children's content. And if you're like me, you might be looking at what's on air right now and thinking this isn't good enough for children. Children deserve better than this. There's some great stuff out there. I'm not saying there's nothing good out there. There's some awesome stuff, but there's just not enough of it. You need to have some skills going off the bat. You need to be able to learn. That is essential. You need to be able to learn all sorts of different, you'll need to learn how to edit, how to do Photoshop and Illustrator. If you're not able to learn all of these things, that's fine. You can always hire someone to do it, right? But you need to have you need to be pretty good at a lot of different things, and you need to be good at learning, essentially. Generally, I really do believe that everyone can learn any skill. You gotta love it enough. It gets back to that, honestly. And what you can get paid for, I have a whole video that's coming out, next week? About how you can make money off it. I'm gonna list a whole lot of different ways. Some of them I like, some of them I don't, but it's just to give you options. And I'm not saying which way you should do it or should not. I'm telling you all the different ways you can, and some options I don't like as much for me, but you are you. All right, so there you have it. That's how I found my purpose. And I hope that was illuminating for you. I will say that once you find your purpose, life is a lot easier. Everything's clear. And you have to trust that you are finding your purpose, even if it's like days where you're just lounging around. Not that I condone lounging around all the time. I actually did a lot of that this weekend. It was great. But now I'm lounging around with purpose. I'm finding things that restore my energy And I'm engaging those things so that on Monday morning, come 9 o'clock on Monday, I'm ready to hit the ground running. And that's exactly what and that's a great feeling. And I want everyone to have that feeling, to be like, okay, it's 9 o'clock on Monday, I'm ready to start my day. I'm ready to do what I need to do to have the impact that I have in the world. And that comes from finding your Ikigai. So at very least, I hope this was helpful. Obviously, I'm trying to inspire other people to do things that I want to do, but if it's not your purpose, then it's not your purpose. It's not for you. All right, well, next week, we're going to get a little bit deeper into the pros and cons of being an independent children's TV host. And then if this is something that you're thinking about, then maybe it'll give you a better idea of if this is the right path for you. Okay. Next week, and take it easy. I don't have a saying yet. I gotta work this. If you liked this video, if you thought it was helpful, thought it was interesting, hope you consider subscribing. The schedule is every Thursday at 8 a.m. See you next time. Okay.